accepted the resignation of Scooter Libby. Scooter's worked tirelessly on behalf of the American people and sacrificed much in the service to this country.
That was a tough moment for President Bush, and it was a tough day that happened 13 years ago for Scooter Libby. But today, redemption for Vice President Cheney's former chief of staff, as President Trump has issued him a pardon. His 2007 conviction for lying about events surrounding the leak of the identity of CIA officer Valerie Plame has been the source of great controversy over the years. Many have argued that Libby was a victim of a politically motivated special counsel run amok. And that special prosecutor, Patrick Fitzgerald, who incidentally was appointed by then Deputy Attorney General James Comey, made the probe more about catching Libby in a lie than identifying a leaker. Today, the president cited former New York Times reporter Judith Miller as a key part of Libby's pardon. Quote, in 2015, one of the key witnesses against Mr. Libby, Judith Miller, recanted her testimony, stating publicly that she believes the prosecutor withheld relevant information that would have altered significantly what she said. You may remember Miller went through an ordeal of her own. She certainly remembers it. She spent 85 days in jail for refusing to reveal Libby as her source. And she joins me now. Wow, Judith, talk about full circle.
Right.
Here you are tonight, and Scooter Libby has now been pardoned. Your thoughts on the president's choice?
Well, I think that I'm very pleased for Mr. Libby. I'm really very, very delighted that even though President Bush commuted his sentence, he wouldn't take that next step and pardon him. And I think a pardon is very important for Scooter Libby, who really became the kind of target of all of the fury and anger over the war in Iraq and the way in which we had gotten into it. I think that's really what the prosecution and persecution of Scooter Libby was all about.
This is Valerie Plame, who was at the center of all of it because the investigation was to figure out who outed her as an agent at the CIA. Here's what she said today.
This is definitely not about me. It's absolutely not about Scooter Libby. It's about Donald Trump and his future. It's very clear that this is a message he is sending that you can commit crimes against national security and you will be pardoned. So I think he's got an audience of 3 right now. That would be Manafort, Flynn, and Kushner, and perhaps others.
Judith.
Well, I think that Valerie Plame must be a kind of soothsayer if she knows what's going on inside Donald Trump's head. I certainly don't, and I don't know why he decided to pardon Scooter Libby. I really don't know, because I had no conversations with the White House about this. But I hope that wasn't the message, because I think there is a big difference between the investigation of the leak of Valerie Plame's name and the Robert Mueller investigation. I think that the Mueller probe is about something real, an effort, whether or not it succeeded, to meddle in our democracy. That's a pillar of our democracy, the presidential election. We have to get to the bottom of that. And you need to have an independent prosecutor working on that, given everything that happened with James Comey, no matter what you think about him. Whereas the investigation of the leak of Valerie Plame's name was really pointless, because Fitzgerald, the special prosecutor, knew from the very beginning that no harm had been done to national security. That was the CIA's own finding when it did an internal investigation about the damage that the leak of her name had done. He said no damage to national security, no damage to any agent in the field, and no damage to Valerie Plame herself. He also told me, this is John Rizzo, who for 30 years was at the agency as its key lawyer. He said Valerie could have stayed as long as she liked. She chose to leave.
Fascinating. Judith, thank you very much. Good to see you tonight.
Thank you.